Well, let's hear from the local pastors. I've got Sean Allen who's a pastor of the Church in the Palms, and Roby Barnes, who is the pastor of the City Rev Church. Would you welcome them to the stage? Welcome. Oh, and Casey Cleveland, you made it in, Casey. Glad we were having a little technical difficulties with Casey. Glad you're here. He's with the Av Church.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here, Pastor. Well, you have just heard this data for the first time. We've only got a few minutes, so I'm going to ask you to keep the answers really short, which I know as a pastor myself, very difficult to do. So I speak, so I'll shut up and start letting you answer questions. But the first thing is just what surprised you as you were hearing that? Anything just really jump out and go, whoa, I didn't expect to hear that today?
Yeah, I'll just jump in. This surprised me, encouraged me. Kind of all three questions. One main thing for me is that churches offer hope, and such a high percentage of people saw churches that offer hope. I think that is hugely encouraging, and I think that's very actionable, because right now I think in society there's so much that is peddling in fear, whether it's social commentary, political commentary, and we have a corner market on hope. If they see us as offering hope, man, I think we got to jump on that, and I think we got to keep. I even noticed Christians in our church that they are just filled with fear. They're filled with hopelessness, and let's give them the hope. We know the living hope, so let's give them Jesus. Interestingly, also, they didn't reference wanting to know like sermon topics about Jesus, and so we've got to make that link. Hope doesn't come from values and morality. Hope comes from the person of Jesus. So I think we can preach that and deliver that, something our community needs.
Great. Sean, Casey, something that surprised you?
I don't know that it surprised me necessarily, but I guess it did a bit. The thought on mental health and just an appetite for mental health. So yeah, it was just maybe cool to see that out there, and it actually answers all those questions, from what surprised me to what encouraged me to what we could take action on, and I think it begins to answer that the idea that the perception of the church is somewhat apathetic. That's a super dangerous place to be. And I think when we talk about mental health, it gives us an opportunity to really step into a space with that hope that Roby was mentioning, and begin to make the gospel relevant.
Wonderful. Sean, how about you?
Yeah, well, so I think this, from the surprising aspect, the homelessness was really surprising to me, just observing people in my church and in the community, and then working with people who are homeless. I was really surprised that was the number one, thing that people are looking to churches to provide services for. So that was kind of shocking to me.
Great. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting themes that kind of came out there. For me, one of the things I was really encouraged by was pastors kind of getting high marks for their leadership during the pandemic. That being positive. That was. I know a lot of pastors that I've talked to said, I've just felt beat down during this time. I felt lost as a leader. To hear the community saying, no, we actually saw you as being really strong during this time. This kind of encouraging thing. How about for you? Anything that really encouraged you?
The thing that was most encouraging to me was the stats about those who view the church positively, indifferently, and negative. If you put the positively and indifferent numbers together, it's roughly 76%. And just from like a tipping point perspective, or the way that I look at things through a missional possibility perspective, if you add all those people together who might get commonly motivated by a common mission, it would seem to be a huge potential for impacting those who had that negative perception.
Yeah, I was also encouraged by millennials really expecting us to engage the city, wanting holistic, wanting holistic approach to ministry and relevance. To me, that's super exciting, especially thinking about the unity process in South Florida. If we can mobilize together the millennial Christians in South Florida, there's city transformation in the making. And so I love that insight. Super encouraging.
Casey, any other things there that stand out?
I mean, I'm just catching the vibe that people want the church to be the church, and even people who don't know exactly all the theology that supports that, it's just our time to be who we were called to be, and And I think the world is asking for us to step into what is our God-given good works that were created for a time for us to walk in. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, it is encouraging. It kind of echoes what Glenn was saying earlier, where he just kind of said, hey, don't try to improve the reputation, just do the right thing, you know, and be with people, and that will accomplish that. Real quickly, we've just got a few seconds left. Anything that you kind of thought to yourself, I could take action on this pretty quickly. This is a low-hanging fruit insight that I could maybe take action on, or maybe there's something that's a longer-term action. Anybody have anything like that the data may have inspired just in these brief moments?
I just go back to hope. I think making sure our team knows how to articulate hope. We talk about faith and love all the time. We've got to make sure we're preaching hope and giving people a vision for what God's intending to do in our community.
I think being lifelong learners too, and not answering the questions for lost people, but actually asking them and you know, searching their hearts and their heads about what they're interested in.
Great.
And I would just say, as we try to reimagine in our own local church who it is that we are, being defined by everyone who's connected to everyone who's already connected to our church, this data is really, really helpful, because none of us have time to sit down and have coffee with hundreds of people. Yeah. And so this is like a way to get discernment from so many different people. So yeah, I would be motivated to share this with a lot of different people in our church and other church pastors, to give them that discernment without having to have all those hours of coffee that we never would be able to do.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we're making this, all the slide decks and this poster available, so that people can use it for staff meetings, for deacon meetings, elder meetings, volunteer meetings, whatever, to kind of get that snapshot. Well, boy, thank you for letting us put you on the spot, because we know that you were hearing this data for the very first time, as we all were, and then being asked to talk about it. Thank you very, very much. And we appreciate you being here today. And thank you for all the work that you're doing, being the hands and feet of Jesus and shepherding the church in South Florida. Really appreciate it.